All right, so our first 20 seconds of work, all we're gonna do is some light twists. So just start to swing your arms, let your feet, your hips and your knees move with you a little bit, and then just right away tune in. Notice how your body's feeling. Notice your back, notice your hips, notice your knees. Notice your energy level. We have light speed rounds today. All right, start to throw your arms in and out. Switch the cross in your arms. And then if you want to get real fancy with the spine, as you open out wide, you're going to take a little arch in the back. And then as you come forward with the arms, you're going to take a little rounding of the back. So get the spine involved as well. One more in and out. And then we're going to switch to a little touch behind the back. So one hand on top, one hand on the bottom. And you don't have to make your hands meet, but just kind of tune in and see where is your range of motion at this morning and how are your shoulders feeling. And time, nicely done. Okay, now we're gonna take it into a little walk. So we're gonna walk to the front end of the mat, reach down, touch the ground, walk yourself to the back end of the mat, and now you're gonna scrape like you're scraping a piece of gum off the bottom of your foot. As you scrape your foot, you're gonna swing the foot behind you, look at your foot, check for gum, scrape the other foot, look for gum, and then once you've done both feet, walk to the front end of your mat, reach down, touch the ground, walk back, scrape your foot, look, scrape your foot and look, and then right back to it. Walk to the front end of your mat, touch the ground, walk it back, scrape, and really pull the ball of your foot so you feel the hamstring muscle fire up just a little bit, and then look, that's gonna work into your spine a little bit. Nice, and go as slow or as fast as feels right to you. You're already halfway there. And as you do that scrape and look, really take a good glance at the bottom of your foot. So we want to make sure you see the whole bottom of your foot. So even if that means you have to pause to get that good view, you got it. 5 seconds left. And time, nicely done. Okay, now we're gonna take it into just some double heel lifts. So heels are gonna lift, lower down. First 30 seconds of work here, nice and slow. But tune in, make sure you're just lifting and lowering to a point that you can control. If your feet are sickling out, so basically if your heel or if your ankles have a tendency to kind of want to buckle out, control the movement so your heels stay in a nice level position. Awesome. Keep your belly slightly firm. Now you might choose to stick with this double heel lift and this might be enough work for you, but if it feels great, now we're gonna take it into a tippy toe walk. So we're gonna keep the heels lifted the whole time. Walk yourself forward, walk yourself backwards, walk yourself around. Any pattern of walking that feels good to you, but the whole time, you're gonna keep the heels lifted if you can. If that feels like a little too much for you this morning, you might choose to just come back to double heel lifts. 5 seconds left. And time, nicely done. Okay, grab some heavy weights. First 30 seconds, it's gonna be a loaded squat. So as heavy as you like, load up at the chest, or if you're going double, you're just gonna load up at the shoulders, but then we're just gonna take it into a squat. So think butt back, bend your knees, sink down into that seat, keep your chest and chin lifted, keep your inner thighs nicely engaged. So we wanna just make sure that the knees aren't kind of dropping in towards each other. So butt back, bend your knees. You got it. A nice slow and steady pace here. First 30 seconds is gonna be slow. We got 10 seconds left. And then we're gonna hold our squat and go for speed. So we got 10 seconds left. Keep going at a nice pace that feels good to you. All right, next time you sink into that squat, hold here. Now we're going for speed. We're picking the knees up, going as fast as you can. Keep that butt back, keep your chest lifted. Yes, nice work, you guys. If the speed feels like too much, slow it down. 15 seconds left. See if you can pick up the pace just a little bit, but keep your chest lifted, keep your chin lifted. And time. Woo, come on up. Give your legs a good shake. Keep that weight, but now we're going to take it into a sumo position. So a little bit wider, lower into your squat, rise back up, keeping the weight loaded right at your chest. And we want to still keep those inner thighs nice and actively engaged. So think knees draw towards the pinky toes. So we fire up the inner thighs, going up and down at a nice slow and steady rhythm. Five more seconds, and then we're going to hold in our sumo squat. All right, sink down, hold. And now we're taking heel lifts, but we're going at a pace. Alternate one heel and then the other. Stay low in your seat. Go as fast as you can. Keep your chest lifted, keep your chin lifted. You got it. Yes, you guys, nice work. Woo, and time, right? Give your legs a good shake. We're coming down into a high kneel position. So again, today we do have a couple of kneeling positions. So if your knees get tender, cushion your knees, but we're gonna come into that high kneel. First 30 seconds is just a Z sit. So we're gonna keep the weight loaded at the chest, lean back, come forward. So think thigh stretch. That's what we're shooting for. So you wanna keep the tailbone slightly drawn down if you have a tendency to stick the booty out. So if your booty tends to stick out, draw your tailbone just slightly down. Keep that firmness in your center. Lean back as far as you can stand. Make sure your knees feel comfortable. Come back up with control. Now you might choose to stick with this work, but if you want to go for a little bit of speed and really kick it into high gear, you're going to step forward into a 90-90 lunge. Step the other foot forward. You're going to keep the weights loaded at your chest and you're going as fast as you can, nice and controlled. So you got to lift that leg up with control so your foot doesn't scrape on the ground. You got it. Keep your chest nice and lifted. If that feels like too much, go right back to your Z sit. But if it feels good, one more each side. Woo! And time. All right. Set your weights down off to the side, right into your tabletop position. We're going to stick with just the right leg for 1 minute. Take it out to a fire hydrant. Lower it down with control. If your wrists get a little cranky in this position, you might choose a crooked tabletop position. But same thing applies. We want to keep our center firm, shoulders stable, and we're trying to find most of this work coming out of the side of the glutes. So think side of your butt, side of your thighs. Slow and steady here. But if you're really loving that speed and you just are like, cardio is the way to go all day, every day, then you pick up the pace here if it feels good to you. But if a slower pace feels right, focus on finding that work coming out of the side of your butt. 20 seconds left. You got this. Nice form, you guys. Your tables look super stable. Nice job. And time. Beautiful. Set that knee down. Pull your butt back towards your heels. Just get a little stretch. Take a nice big breath. And then when you're ready, bring it back up to your table and right over to the other side. So left leg is going to lift up and out. And then you choose the variation with your tabletop that works best for you. You might choose to stay in this tall table position or a crooked table. And you can even bring both elbows and forearms down, but everything else still applies. We keep the belly firm. We keep most of that work coming out of the side of the butt. Shoulders are broad. Yes, nice work. Linda's like, COVID schmovid, I'm kicking this into high gear. You're already halfway there. Nice work. 10 seconds left. You got this. And time. Awesome job. Okay, now we're going to grab our TheraBand, but we're going to stick with that tabletop position. We're going to wrap the TheraBand underneath one foot. So if you can, catch hold of the bottom of your right foot. And then we're going to choke the TheraBand up so that we get a little tension. So in our tabletop position, hands are going to hold the TheraBand in place. It's hooked around the bottom of the right foot. And then once you've got it there, we're just pushing the foot back and out, working through the back of the leg and the back of mainly your big glute muscles. So push back and out, keep everything else as stable as you can. And then you'll rearrange your hand hold so that the TheraBand just doesn't get all wacky and wonky on you. So position your hands so that the TheraBand moves freely. Push out, come in with control. Keep your belly firm. Keep your shoulders stable. You got it. Nice work. Same thing if you're not using your TheraBand, you're still doing the same amount of work, just pushing through your heel, kicking out behind you, but think about your leg being in a slow motion position. So imagine that you're kicking through water or through something really thick like mud. So you resist pushing out and resist coming in. Awesome, 10 seconds left. And time. Set that knee down and then see if you can just step your other foot into the loop from your tabletop position and then step your right leg out. Once you've got yourself set up, right back to it, choke up on your TheraBand so you get plenty of resistance. Hands are going to hold the TheraBand in place. And now we're pushing out through the left leg and bringing it in with control. Yes. Belly is firm, shoulders are nice and stable. You're already halfway there. Nice work. Ten seconds left. You got this. And time. Nicely done. Okay, step your foot out of your TheraBand, set it off to the side. We are going to use it when we come down onto our back, but we got one more round in our tabletop position. So in your tabletop, you're going to pick up your knees and hover, and we're going to start to hip dip. So you're going to drop your hips to one side and then the other, but you're going to keep your knees lifted the whole time. So you'll adjust your hands and your wrists so that feels like a comfortable position. And then you're just going to pick your bum up, drop it over to one side, bring it over the other way. A little bit of movement in the shoulders, lots of work in the core to keep your center stable. Trying to keep the knees lifted the whole time. If you need to reset and rest, do what you need to do. "20 seconds left. And time. Awesome job. Okay, we're flipping over onto our back and grab your TheraBand. We're going to wrap it right around the bottoms of our feet and then kick our feet up into the air. So get there in a way that works good for you. You might choose to catch your feet up in a seated position or just pull them up into your chest. But once you've got your feet looped in your band, you're going to choke up on your band a little bit to get a good amount of resistance. Let your elbows get nice and heavy. And now we're going to think pushing the heels out. So outer thighs are going to work. Push the heels out and away from each other. Bring them back in with control. Push the heels out. Pull them back in with control. We're just pushing directly out to the side, coming back in. So we don't want the TheraBand to ricochet you back in. Come back in with the same amount of control that you push out with. And think push out with your heel or push out with the blade edge of your foot. So you keep your foot and your ankle stable. A micro bend in the knee so you're not yanking against the knee joint too much. As you do this work here, maybe even look at your knees and just make sure that your knees stay facing in the same direction the whole time. So there's no external rotation, no internal rotation. Knees stay in line. Push out with the blade edges of your feet. Come back in with control. And time. Nicely done. Bend your knees, set your feet down. It's going to be, we're going to do this 2 times. So it's going to be 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, and then we'll repeat. So for the first 10 seconds, soles of the feet together, knees out to the left and to the right, just come into a butterfly position, a relaxed butterfly position. So relax your inner thighs and just hold there for about 5 more seconds. Cool. Now bring the knees together, feet together, knees together, inner thighs together, and actively push. Push your knees in towards each other. 10 seconds of work here, pushing the knees in, holding that steady position. So we're active, pushing inward. 3 more seconds to go. All right, now step your feet to hip width distance apart, lift into a halfway bridge. So backs of the ribs are going to stay connected to the ground. Feel the fronts of your legs get fired up. Hold that position for 10 seconds. All right, now lower your butt down, soles of the feet together, knees out to the left and to right. 10 more seconds of butterfly, just holding that butterfly position. So let the inner thighs relax. Let your knees get heavy. Bring the inner thighs together, knees together, toes together. Push your knees in towards each other. So actively pushing inward. Hold that active pushing in sensation for 10 more seconds. Really 5 left to go. All right, step your feet to hip width distance apart. Come to that halfway bridge. Hold that halfway bridge. So ribs, backs of the ribs are still connected to the floor. Butt is lifted off the ground and you're holding there. Arms can be wherever is the most comfortable. 5 seconds left. And time. Lower your butt down, stretch your legs nice and long. We're moving right into roll-ups. So reach your arms up and overhead, flex your feet, exhale, curl up the head, neck, and chest, peel your back away from the floor, reach past your toes if you can, roll your way all the way back down to the ground. Inhale as you reach the arms up, exhale, head, neck, and shoulders lift, reach past your toes. If it's too much at the backs of your legs, bend your knees as you come up into that seated position and think about digging your heels into the ground. And that way you're not pulling too much against the backs of the legs. If it's still a little much and you want that little bit of an assist, you can use your TheraBand, wrap it around the bottoms of the feet. Yes, you guys, nice work. You're already halfway there. Let your exhale help you. So exhale as you curl up the head, neck, and chest, using the exhale to assist on the effort. The next time you roll up, stay up. And then we're going to take it right into a seated position. So feet are going to be about hip width distance apart and hands are going to either be on the ground or behind the head. That'll be totally up to you, but it's going to be a little hip flexor hop. So we're going to cross one ankle and then the other. Everything else is going to stay as stationary as it can. So we're hopping the foot across. Think ankle to ankle, crisscross, and then find a good pace that works good for you. A nice upright spine. If you need to, bring your hands down onto the ground so that you can support the spine and make sure that that's keeping nice upright position, but really finding the work here in those hip flexors. So think where the hip crease is, and if it helps you find it, tuck your hands right into the hip crease. Notice that action that's happening there as you cross over. Yes, nice work. Fifteen seconds left. You got this. And time. Woo, nice job. Step the feet in a little closer, nice bend in the knees. Lean back into your V-sit. You're either going to use your weights or just thumbs to the chest. But we're going to lean back into that V-sit, reach back with one hand, bring it back to the chest. Reach back and twist a little bit, bring it back to the chest. We got 1 minute on the clock. You're going at a pace that works good for you. If speed's your vibe this morning, this is definitely one that you can take at a faster pace and keep good control. But we want to shoot for that control. So we want to lean back into that V-sit so we feel the core muscles fire up, or think abdominal muscles working. You might even feel it in your hip flexors a little bit there. And then if you like working with the breath, exhale as you reach out, inhale as you bring it back in. Beautiful, you guys, nice. You can keep that weight loaded at the chest, or if you want to add that little extra bit of fire, you're reaching with that loaded hand and then reaching out with the other loaded hand. So you might choose to pass that weight across your chest if you're going all the way. And time, nicely done. Okay, from here, we're coming back up to a standing position. TheraBand or hand weights, just whatever works better for you. I'm gonna first cue it with the TheraBand, but you can also use your weights. So palms facing up, we're gonna get a nice close grip. Elbows are gonna stay at the side of the body, and we're just getting that shoulder rotation. So we're pulling the hands away from each other, rotating out through the shoulder, bringing it back in with a sense of control. We got 30 seconds of work here. Go at a pace that works good for you. Steady to pull out and just as steady to come in. Keep your belly pulled in firm. Keep your gaze forward. You got it. You know what you're doing. Five more seconds of work here. All right, now we're going to keep that bent elbow position and that pulling apart sensation, but now we're going to scrape the elbow. So we're going to keep that pulled apart position, lift the elbows up, keep that bent position, lower and scrape the elbows along the side of the body. Yes, nice work. And time. Woo, shake out your arms. TheraBand or hand weight, again, totally up to you. But we're going to hold one hand at the side of the hip, and the other hand is going to imagine that you're pulling a sword. So the hand that stays at the hip, just imagine you're holding your little shield for your sword, and the other hand is going to pull like you're drawing a sword. Bring it back in with control. Pull out and pull in. We got 30 seconds on this side. Find a pace that works good for you. If working with the TheraBand doesn't feel good, just grab a single hand weight and you'll imagine you're placing the weight to your pocket and then lifting it up. You got it. Nice. Ten seconds left on this side. All right, switch. Bring your other hand to the hip, choke up as much as you need to, find that grab, pull it up and out, bring it back in with control. So don't let the TheraBand ricochet you in. Come back in with a slow and steady pace. And time. Ooh, nicely done. Okay, give your shoulders a little shimmy shake. Grab a heavy weight, heaviest that you've got if you can. This is going to be a little bit of a variation of our deadlift. So 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. So we're going to stagger our stance. We're going to load up on the back foot. So that's the arm that's going to hold the weight. Now we're going to think deadlift. So we're going to hinge from the waist, but we're going to add a little twist or rotation. So as you hinge from your waist, you're also going to reach across to that front foot. So it's a staggered stance, lean forward, reach across, come back up, squeeze your glutes. We got 1 minute on the clock. You're working it at your pace. So we've got that staggered stance, load your hand up, lean and rotate. So we think reach towards the blade edge of your foot and then keep that long spine, lift up, squeeze your glutes. You got it, nice work. If you like working with the breath here, you're going to exhale as you come up, squeeze the glutes and feel a little bit of fire in the back of your thighs if you can find it. Nicely done. One more up and down. And then when you're ready, switch your feet. And right back to it. Switch your feet, switch your hands. So you're loading up that back hand, hinge from your waist, rotate a little bit, reach across towards the blade edge of your foot, come back up. See if you can use the back of that standing leg to fire up as you come up. Nice work, you guys. Beautiful form. You guys look amazing. Ten seconds left. You got this. And time. Awesome job. Okay, your choice for this last one, whether or not you want to load up at the chest or set your weights down, but it is our last bit of work and we're going to step it into a nice wide position. So wide stance and think good mornings. So we're still working through the back chain of the body. Nice long spine. You come to that halfway point, lift up, squeeze your glutes as you come up. Load up with lots of weight if it feels good to do so. But check in, since that wider position, if you're not sure, do a couple rounds without weights just to see how it feels. And then if all is feeling good, load up. Halfway point, nice long spine, squeeze your glutes to come up. Check your belly, just make sure that you're keeping a slight tightness in your tummy, pulling the abdomen in or pulling the belly button towards the spine. 10 seconds left, you got this. All right, the next time you come into your folded position, let your hands come down to the ground. If you're using your weight, just set your weight down onto the ground, pause for a second, and then just see if you can kind of soften through the back of your body. So let there be a little bit of a rounding in your spine. Let your head drop down just a little further. Great, and now we're gonna take it into a little twist. So left hand underneath your nose, plant that hand on the ground, reach your right hand up to the sky. Awesome, bring that hand down underneath your nose, other hand reaches up to the sky. Nice, bring that hand down, but we're gonna stay in that folded position. Walk over toward your left foot, soften your nose toward your knee. Walk through center over towards your right foot. Soften your nose towards your knee. Awesome. Come back through center. Bend your knees a lot. Pull your abdominal muscles in. Roll up to a standing position. Toe heel your feet in or walk your feet in, whatever gets you there, but find a good hip width distance apart. Reach your arms up. We're going to let the right hand grab the left wrist, lift, and then lean over. Take a nice big side bend. Beautiful. Lift up, switch your grip, lift, and then lean over. Lift up, release your arms, and then if you like just a nice little shoulder stretch, grab your TheraBand, bring it behind you, palms facing backwards. You're going to make sure you have a nice bit of room or space for your arms to move freely away from the back of your body. And then once you feel like you're there, feet hip width distance apart, bend your knees, hinge from your waist, fold over, let your arms fall away from the back of the body. Take one more breath. Hands towards the low back, bend your knees, lift from the top of your head, let your chest follow, come up nice and slow. Amazing work. Give your arms a good shake. Grab your 9-inch Pilates ball if you're sticking around. You guys are awesome. Nice work today.